Hey guys, so I haven't looked yet this morning, but I believe that we just hit 1 million views on this channel, and that is super exciting, so thanks for watching. Today I wanted to talk about Wendell Berry. Now, he is really big in the same circles as Silent Spring and Cadillac, what was it, the Cadillac Desert? The Cadillac... something like that. The whole conservation group. I had to read Silent Spring and all those others in college because my major was environmental science. I wanted to be able to spend all my time outside once I had a job, and that kind of literature just made me feel like I can make a difference. The world isn't stuck and dying. I come from a very conservative background, but my opinions about the world as far as the environment go would probably be classified not as liberal but as preservationist, and so I believe that we need to do on our own properties what we can to help the world to be healthier. So one of his books is Bringing It to the Table. He has a whole bunch of books and they all kind of are around the same theme: farming, self-reliance, not necessarily because it's just hard. It's kind of hard to explain what his beliefs are, but they're very holistic and have something of a religious bent to it. He talks about the moral certainty that we need to be treating our animals as we would want to be treated, that confinement operations are not good for our souls, let alone the animals. That the way that we treat our animals will reflect how we treat our children and how we treat our families and how we treat our country. And so he's a feel-good read. He's a I can be a better person. I can do it myself to better who I am, and the people around me will be able to have better lives because of who I am and the way that I lead my life in relation to the earth. And so he talks about living among the Amish and about farmers that he has met and who he loves because of their love of their land. One of his favorites, he has a series of 12 essays that are really good. I got this one because I hadn't read it yet, Bringing It to the Table, but he had, and it's the only book I had. I for a long time I couldn't remember what his name was, and I was going through all the old books on Amazon trying to find him, and I'm like, who would he be next to? Joel Salatin, Sepp Holzer? Nope, he's a lot older than that. And I think what I linked him with was The One Straw Revolution, which was is a Japanese author that talks about farming in a way that rests and protects the land when you don't have anything on it, and to respect the cycles of nature. So finally I found him and I bought him, and the thing that he gives me, I guess, when I read him is confidence in my importance in the scheme of things as a mom and as a wife, because he talks a lot about how valuable the farm wife and the farmer's family, how important they are in being able to run a farm that is healthy for the land. He talks about how if you want your farm to be healthy, you have to have livestock, you have to have pastures, and it can't all be in cash cropping. It needs to be something that holds vitality and life in it during the rest of the year, not just during that short growing season. And that by having a farm and a family on the farm, a farm that's there year round, gives that farmer an understanding of the land so that he can cherish it and work on it and improve it and hand it down to someone else who cares about it. But that if you're only there for a few months of the year, you don't recognize the weather patterns. You don't recognize when you have a certain part of your land that's ailing, because if your land is ailing and you're a cash crop farmer, you don't care that the land is ailing as long as the crop is fine. And if the crop isn't fine, you just add a different chemical and it temporarily fixes it long enough for you to get harvest in. So I love him. Oh, he's just chicken soup for the soul if you're a farmer. And I guess one thing I want to add to that is that he was talking about farms, but we can do the same thing on our own properties, no matter how big or small they are. If we are nurturing the insect life, and if we're feeding the plants that we do have with good things, and if we're able to keep a couple livestock, you can make your own little piece of earth heaven for the things that are residing on it, whether it's just your family or some livestock or the insects or the birds. But his message is that the family unit makes the best farmer. The family unit makes the best farmer, and that you can love and cherish your land by staying on it and being somewhat stationary in life, because then the land becomes part of your family and you cherish it as your part of your family because you know it. So anyway, every time I do a book review, I find that I have enough time to get my makeup on before I have to go out and do the animals, but I don't have time. To get my hair done. So, I don't think there's anything else to say about that. What was my other favorite book? Because for some reason that made me think of a different book. If you haven't read The One Straw Revolution, it is a stepping stone for permaculture. It is about minimalist pruning. And again, like Wendell Berry, it's about staying on the land long enough that you learn what it wants. And what he would do, it reminds me of Marge Tulip, who's the lady I get my tulips from down in Shelley. What she does with her annual garden is she takes all of the lawn trimmings and debris from the gardening year, and when her harvest is over, they dump all of that grass and all of the leaves and everything onto her huge garden. She has it's enormous. It's 200 feet by 75 feet probably. It's really big. And it's just she and her husband, but they eat out of it. It's amazing how much space it takes to grow, if you're really going to eat out of your garden, how much space it takes to grow enough food. And I think she also feeds the rest of her children and their children, that they come and get food from her too. So she did something like the One Straw Revolution, because what he would do is take all the debris and leave it in the field and seed and grow, what was it? It was clover, white clover, Dutch clover, that would come up, and it would protect the seedlings and hold the soil in the ground during the monsoon season. And then the grain could come up through it, and then they'd go through and they'd cut down the clover and leave it there. And they just had this cycle that was continual all year round of adding more organic matter to the soil and not bringing it in from the outside, allowing it to grow in place, and then chop and dropping it. And that's what I have done around my raspberries that finally took off. I put down lots. I had to put down so much. I must be so deficient in something that's in rabbit manure, because if I pile the rabbit manure on, things survive, the water finally stays in the ground, and they become lush. I probably had a good 6 inches of rabbit manure around where I had planted all of my raspberries. I've planted somewhere in the neighborhood of 500 raspberry plants on our place, and I now have 3 that have survived over the winter, first time. And the thing that I did different was that I mulched them with rabbit manure. And now what I'm doing is I'm going through and I'm clipping the weeds around the, oh, and I have blackberries that made it too, so I can't say that. It's more than 3, because I have a whole strip of blackberries that I got from the same guy, and they all made it. But again, I mulched them with about 6 inches of rabbit manure. And watered them last year. So as the weeds come up, and I also have comfrey planted among them, as everything gets big enough to start shading out the raspberries, I go out and cut it down and lay it down along the base of the plants, the base of the raspberries, so that it mulches it. And so far, it's worked really well with the raspberries and the strawberries. So I think reading these books that put heart into your soul, that kind of give moral credence to your dream, is so beneficial, because it just inspires you to say, yeah, what I'm trying to do is important. Yeah, what I'm trying to do makes a difference, and I'm right. This is something that is more than just about money. It's about how I decided that I want to live my life on this earth. And so those are all books. Okay, so anything by Wendell Berry is going to be fantastic. And then there's the One Straw Revolution by Mansudo. Oh, how do you say his name? I never can remember how to say his name. So it's just the One Straw Revolution. And then what's another one? I really like Ruth Stout. I don't know. I've had a hard time with her method for annual gardens that I don't have ducks in. If I have the ducks in, yes, her method works very well. But the lasagna garden, all of these things that allow you to grow things on your property that enrich your own soil and help you think of it as a system, I think all these things are valuable. So anyway, hopefully we have hit 1 million views by now. I'm going to go check. If not, give me a hip hip hooray when we do, if you see it, and we will talk to you later.